September 25th. So thank you once again for joining in to our weekly PPACA webinars. I certainly try to keep everyone up to date, but there are things that are coming in rapid fire, so I'll try to do my best to keep everyone informed as I have in the past, but I'm sure as we get closer to November 15th with the open election period, things are going to be changing even more rapidly. So let's get started. Just one final reminder that the FFM certification you need to do that by September 30th because the 2014 certification expires on Tuesday. So if you don't certify or do your 2015 FFM certification by Tuesday, there may be a break in your certification, which you don't want to have happen. If you don't certify for 15, you will not get paid on anything that you sell in 14. Now, again, as a reminder, the 2015 FFM certification is going to carry you through the balance of 2014 after September 30th, from 10/1 until 12/31, but you must do it. So if you've not done that yet, please contact me or one of your case managers, and they can get you the information, the links, in order to do that. New this week, just came out that there are new Section 125 qualifying events for mid-year election. They are the two new qualifying events. Like all Section 125 events, are optional, so that means that the employer who wishes to include the new Section 125 events they need to update their plan documents. But the first event is for employees who have had their hours reduced so that they are now expected to average less than 30 hours of service per week, but they're still offered group coverage. Those individuals will be able to change their employer coverage election and enroll in another plan that provides minimum essential coverage. The second one is known as the revocation due to enrollment in a qualified health plan. Cracks me up sometimes how these titles come out, but essentially what that means is that when an employee has experienced a mid-year or special enrollment period qualifying event, it allows them to enroll in a qualified health plan. Essentially, if the employer's open enrollment period on the group health plan is outside of the open enrollment period, and then the coverage that is offered by the employer does not meet the affordability guidelines or the minimum essential guidelines, then that creates the revocation due to enrollment exemption, or exception, I should say, and they can elect different options within the Section 125. So a bit confusing, but that information is going to be in my newsletter as well. You can read more about it. Another reminder is on the United Concordia individual dental. 60 to 90 days prior to any of your individual United Concordia dental clients, prior to their renewal, 60 to 90 days, they will receive information that essentially says they are not going to be renewing their dental coverage. We do have other options available through Cap Blue Cross / Dominion and also IHC. So if you do have questions about alternatives, again, either contact myself or your case managers, and they can give you all the information that you need. Another thing that came out this week is that the certificates of credible coverage that used to be issued from carriers when a person was terminated or changed health plans so to ease the transition to another health plan, the certificates of credible coverage won't be issued. They're no longer required after 12/31 of 14. So just a heads up on that for those of us that used to wait around for those things. They are not going to be coming. So just so you're aware of that. And the next bullet point kind of makes me shiver in my boots, because anything that is overhaul or enhanced always has glitches, and healthcare.gov is going to get an overhaul. Now, they're pretty extensive, and of course, in all due respect, they're supposed to be overhauled and enhanced to make the consumer experience a bit easier. But the enhancements are, at this point, something that healthcare.gov says that 70% of the consumers will be able to use. It's a shorter, simpler online application. It has fewer pages and questions, fewer screens to navigate, and it would allow people, of course, to sign up with fewer clicks. The new application is intended for people with uncomplicated household situations, and it can only be used by first-time applicants, not by people who have previously obtained coverage through the FFM. They say it's going to have a new look and feel, a shorter, simpler user experience. Consumers will be asked a series of questions up front to determine whether or not they should use the old or the new application templates. Some of the questions that are going to be asked are, does everyone applying for coverage have the same permanent house or permanent home residence? Is anyone an American Indian or naturalized citizen? Are you and your spouse responsible for a child who lives with you but is not on your federal tax return? Do any of your dependents live with a parent who is not on your tax return? So some of those questions are going to essentially, shoot people off onto the shorter version or the version as we know it now. One of the other enhancements, which I'm happy about, is that the new application will have a feature known as backward navigation. So it's going to allow your consumers or yourselves to go back to previous screens and make edits as opposed to having to go back into each section. So that should help, hopefully, the user experience. But time will tell. And the next bullet point, we're talking about the new IRS draft instructions. You can find the actual draft on irs.gov/ACA, but the form 8962 for the premium tax credit or form 8965 for health coverage exemptions. The information is now being released, the draft versions. And, of course, we all know that the Affordable Care Act calls for each individual to have a qualifying health insurance coverage for each month of the year or have an exemption or make an individual shared responsibility payment when filing their federal tax return. So these forms are really going to work in combination with the forms that the health insurance marketplace will be sending out by January 31st, notifying the insured of the subsidy and premium and the amount that they received for the 2014 year. So they'll go hand in hand with that form. I wanted to just touch on these next two bullet points, the GAP webinar, which is next Tuesday from 2 to 3. I think that's important for all of you on this call to at least log into, because it is something that can go hand in hand on the individual side with your individual consumers. Of course, we all know, too, that Sam Bohr, who is our Director of Ancillary and Supplemental Lines, can help you in similar products on the group health side. But the GAP webinar is specific to individual. And then, of course, we are having a CAP Blue Cross seminar on October 29th at the Colonial Golf and Tennis Club. It's on Linglestown Road. So watch for more information on that. That's going to run from 9 to 11 on the 29th of October. And if you go into our home page, you can see our upcoming training and events, or you can click here to see the event calendar. So this is going to bring up all the information, all the testing, and you can see, of course, on the 30th, this is the GAP webinar. So you can click on that to register, and then, of course, if you go through to October, you will see October 29th, if I can find it. Oh, it is not on there. So I apologize for that. It will be on there, and it's also in my newsletter if you want to go ahead and sign up for that. So I apologize for the confusion in that. And at this point, that brings to conclusion all of the agenda items that I had, so we'll open it up for questions and see what we have here. Does look like we have some questions. Nate says, can you add to your newsletter email addresses of where we send FFM certifications to the carriers? Absolutely, Nate. That's actually been in my newsletters. It's good to know you read them so closely, mister. It's been in my newsletters. It's under required licensing, so all of the information, he just typed in ouch. Yeah, it happens. I know you're a busy guy, so they're all there under required licensing, all of the carriers that we have in the instructions to get those FFM certs to the carriers. Sherry says, how do we know if all of the modules for certifications for the FFM have been completed? You can call me on this if it's not warranted in the webinar. And actually, Sherry, if you go into the FFM account, you're gonna see where it talks about the 2015 individual marketplace or individual marketplace and shop curriculums for 2015. And if you see it completed next to it, then that means the entire module or curriculum has been completed. Another way to go in is to check on your training, what's it called? All of your training, and then you can see the date that it was completed and the status right next to it. I did check on Steve's, Sherry, and it has been completed, just as an FYI. Jim says, any new information about Medicaid expansion in Pennsylvania? Good question, Jim, and absolutely. Healthy PA has been approved. We don't know how that's going to really work in conjunction with the FFM. The law does require that the law does allow for an insured to go on to healthcare.gov and not only make application for PPACA health plans, but also through Medicaid or CHIP. So how that will work, we'll certainly know moving forward. At this point, I do know that on 12/1 that your insured can go to the PA Compass site and sign up for the Healthy PA, and that would go into effect for 1/1 because Healthy PA is not going to take effect until 1/1. And all of the clients that you have that are currently in the Medicaid system will be getting notices about Healthy PA and what they need to do. It's yet to be seen if agents are going to be able to take part in that because they are utilizing carriers' plans that non-Medicaid recipients can also access. So, again, I'm not sure how it's all going to work, but we'll certainly know as time goes on. And again, as we get closer to November 15th. Abby says, is it still the expectation that we won't have access to the 2015 benefits and rates until November 15th? And yes, Abby, I think unfortunately that's what's going to happen. I do know that UPMC said they're going to release November 8th, but I don't know that a week ahead is going to make any difference. So, as soon as we get information, absolutely I will share that with you, but I'm not expecting anything until the 15th. And let's see, Jules says, will assurance quotes be on the government website? Yes, that's a good question, Jules, because assurance is coming into the marketplace. The plans, unlike this year, are going to be available through the FFM. They are trying to position themselves, and they say they've positioned themselves competitively. So we do have a contract for that. They are paying a percentage of commission, and if you want more details on what that means for you and your individual health plans, you can shoot me an email or give me a call, and I'd be happy to share that with you. And yeah, so they're going to be on. And let's see, Nate says, I'm only about 4 weeks behind. They're all saved in the follow-up folder. Nate, I understand. No excuses are necessary, really. I understand. Things get busy. And Janet says, is anyone working with temporary staffing companies? How are they planning to handle those employees who qualify for coverage but then don't work? Are they laying them off? That's really kind of there's a lot that goes into that. I mean, if they're employees of the employment agency and they work more than 30 hours, and depending on how how many employees they have. It's really depending on how they handle them. Of course, any employer for 2015 that is above 100 full-time equivalents, they will have to start looking, if they've not done so already, at measurement periods. And the measurement periods, the standard measurement period, is really going to identify those employees that work an average of 30 hours or more, and then they would have to be offered coverage even if they don't work 30 hours or more through their entire stability period. So it gets a little confusing, but if you want more information on that, Janet, I can talk to you specifically about those groups, because trust me, no group is the same, and it never works out the same. So give me a call if you have any questions on that. Joe says, are you a GA for Geisinger, both group and individual? And absolutely we are, Joe. We have the Geisinger individual and group health programs, as well as the Medicare programs. And Geisinger, unlike 2013, they are paying commission in all areas. You know, if anyone that is in the northeastern PA area for Geisinger in 2013 and before, if you sold in northeastern PA, you wouldn't get commissioned. For 2014, that's changed, and their entire area where their programs are available, you will be paid compensation. Jay says, is there any clarification on the subject of automatic health insurance renewals for clients who have enrolled in the exchange? Yeah, there are some guidelines for the re-enrollment process, and you know, again, the devil's in the details, but from what everyone's saying, and from what NAHU has released, and this is also in my newsletter this week, if somebody is enrolled for 2014 and are receiving a subsidy and their income is not expected to change, then they really don't need to do anything to update their income, and the subsidy is going to carry over for 15. Of course, also if your clients have given the health insurance marketplace the ability to pull those tax records for longer than a period of a year, then that's going to be done automatically as well, verifying income for that subsidy. Also, if I'm trying to explain this, if the health plan that your clients are currently on are not retiring, and your client doesn't want to make a change, then they'll auto map those clients to the same health plan for 2015. So, you know, again, nothing's easy these days, right? But so pretty much it's going to be, all clients will pretty much have the same plan that they have this year and the same subsidy, unless there's a significant change or the plan retires. And again, we'll have more information on that as time goes on. Jay says, any word on the network Assurant will be using? Assurant is actually using the Aetna National Network, so that is the network that they are using. And what Janet says, what carriers will be on the website this year? All of the same carriers that are on this year: Geisinger, Independence, Highmark Blue Shield, Capital Blue Cross, Western Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, Blue Cross of Northeastern PA, and I hope I didn't miss any, but new this year will be both Assurant and United Health One. Those two carriers are coming into the PA market for the exchange. And Mario says, on exchange sales platforms within each carrier, is Highmark the only one offering that right now, where they go to their website and can communicate with healthcare.gov at the same time? That's a really good question, Mario, and most of the carriers, we've not heard from Independence yet, and UPMC said that they will not have the direct enrollment feature, but you know, apart from that, all the carriers are going to have a direct enrollment feature, which essentially means that you can go to the carrier-specific portal, log in, create a quote, and look at subsidy information. And if your client wants to enroll on a healthcare.gov plan, then they click enroll, and it redirects them to healthcare.gov. So, you know, again, it's going to be a little tricky this year with the direct enrollment features, but who knows, it may actually make things easier. Time will tell. And Jay said, has anyone else noticed premiums being prorated on the exchange from Highmark Blue Shield? And no, I have not. I'd like to talk to you more about that, Jay, because I've not noticed that at all. I mean, premiums per month are premiums, so I'm not sure how that's working for you, but give me a call, and I will follow up with everybody next week with more details on what exactly is happening. Lori says she received a call from Highmark last night that was for one of my individual clients. Do you know what is being said when they call? I do not, but I can find out. And I do have sample letters of the notices that are going out to the medically underwritten Highmark programs. Those letters are hitting this week, and there's a multi-tiered approach. The first letter refers to the fact that their health plan is not going to be renewed for 12/31/14, and that they have to make an election of another plan for January 1st. And they also refer to, advise the clients to reach out to their agents. So I'll send you a copy of those letters, Lori, and I'll try to get information on those calls as well. And again, I'll follow up next week with all those details. And let's see, do withdrawals from IRAs count as income on the marketplace for the advanced premium tax credit? Yes, all income that would appear on your 1040 form is going to be considered income. Definitely, something like that would be considered income because you're pulling from a tax-free or tax-deferred plan and putting it into income. And Lori says, are we still the broker if they make a change? And the answer to that is yes and no. If your clients if they call you and you help them with that change because it's going to be considered a new sale, then you would be agent of record on that sale. If your clients in the medically underwritten program call directly into Highmark, they're not going to check. From what I've been told, they're not going to check. They would consider that a direct sale. So that's why it's really important to, pardon me, get in touch with your clients and let them know that you're able and willing to help them. And I will write down that number, Lori, and find out what they're being told. Lori just shared with me the number that the message came through from, so I will, again, find that out and what's being told and let all of you know next week. Looks like that is the last of our questions. Once again, I really do appreciate all of you joining in every week. Our next webinar is Thursday, the 2nd of October. Can you believe we're in October already? And as always, it's 9:30. And again, only lasts about half an hour. I always appreciate that you tune in every week, and your great questions. It helps me learn and my staff learn. So we're happy to help any way we can, and I wish you all a very good balance of the week and a great weekend. Bye-bye.